Nietzsche discovered the most unsettling reason why you keep destroying your own chances to win. And no, it's not fear of failure, it's fear of getting exactly what you want. Because deep down, you know if you succeed, your life will never be the same. And your own mind will fight against that change with everything it has. Until you understand that your mind is your most dangerous saboteur, you will keep choosing a comfortable kind of suffering over the dangerous kind of growth. Think about how many times this has happened to you. The email is ready. Your hand is on the mouse. All you have to do is click send. But suddenly, your chest tightens. Your thoughts start spinning. You tell yourself, I'll review it one more time, but you never do. Or there's someone who could actually matter in your life, and you pick a fight over something absurd. Or that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you accidentally miss the deadline. And later you say, I didn't really want it anyway. But when the night gets quiet, you ask yourself, why do I always do this to myself? The answer isn't your lack of discipline. It's not your fear of failure. It's something much deeper, much more unconscious. You're afraid of what would happen if it worked. Because success means responsibility. Success means being visible. Success means you can't hide behind your old limitations anymore. Nietzsche had a word for this: ressentiment. It's not ordinary resentment. It's a psychological poison that makes you prefer the role of the victim because it shields you from the terrible responsibility of being powerful. If that sounds dramatic, think back to when you were a child having nightmares. The monster was in the room, and you hid under the blanket. Even though you knew the blanket couldn't protect you from something real, it made you feel safe. Your limitations are your adult blanket, and you defend them as if your life depends on it. Because in a twisted way, it does. Your current identity depends on those limitations, on what you can't do, on what you don't have, on what's not possible for you. And Nietzsche saw this pattern everywhere, not just in individuals, but in entire cultures, whole civilizations. The weak don't just accept their position, they protect it. They turn weakness into a moral virtue. They make their limitations sacred. Because being powerful means being responsible, being visible, being a target. But here's what Nietzsche understood that most people miss. Your self-sabotage is not random. It's not accidental. It's your psyche's defense system against a life too big for your current identity. And it all begins with resentment. A poison so subtle, most people never realize they've been drinking it every day. There's a poison in your mind that feels like virtue, but kills your potential. Nietzsche called it ressentiment, not resentment, ressentiment. He chose this French word on purpose because what he discovered was too complex for a single language to hold. Resentment is what you feel towards someone who hurt you. Ressentiment is what you feel towards someone who succeeded where you failed. Resentment says, you wronged me. Ressentiment says, your success proves my failure. And here's where it gets twisted. Instead of using that pain as fuel to grow, we turn it into proof that we shouldn't even try. Picture this. You're scrolling through your feed. A friend announces they just got promoted. The smile on their face, the congratulations pouring in, your stomach tightens.
For a split second, you feel the sting. What's your first thought? Be honest. Is it inspiration? Or is it something darker? They got lucky. They had connections. They don't deserve it. It's easier for them. That voice? That's ressentiment talking. And here's where it gets twisted. It's not trying to motivate you. It's trying to protect you. Because if they succeeded through luck, if they had unfair advantages, if the system is rigged, then your failure isn't really yours. It's the world's failure, society's failure, anyone's failure, but yours. And suddenly your limitations become noble. Your struggles become virtuous. Your lack of success becomes moral superiority. I may not have what they have, but at least I have integrity. I may not be successful, but at least I'm authentic. I may not be powerful, but at least I'm humble. Do you see what's happening here? You're not just accepting your limitations. You're celebrating them. You're making them sacred. Because if being limited is virtuous, then being unlimited would be corrupt. And this is why you sabotage yourself right before a breakthrough. Your unconscious mind is protecting your moral identity. Success would make you one of them, the lucky ones, the privileged ones, the ones who don't deserve it. But here's what Nietzsche understood. Ressentiment isn't just about other people's success. It's about your own potential. Deep down, you know you're capable of more. Deep down, you know you could push harder, take bigger risks, become dangerous. And that terrifies the part of you that's built an identity around being safe, around being small, around being innocent. Because what if you gave it everything you had and still failed? Then you'd have to face the truth. Maybe you're not as special as you thought. Maybe your potential was always just potential. So instead, you hold back. You never go all in. You sabotage yourself. That way, when you fail, you can always say, I wasn't really trying. But Nietzsche saw through this game. He knew ressentiment isn't weakness. It's a form of power. The power to never be disappointed. The power to never be responsible. The power to never be vulnerable. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of hope. Because hope forces you to believe you might actually win. And if you might win, you might also lose everything. And that's where Nietzsche's most disturbing insight hits. We don't just tolerate our limitations. We've built an entire moral system around them. He called it slave morality. And the question you need to ask yourself is, whose morality are you really living? Yours, or the one you were trained to obey?
There's a kind of morality that feels pure, but keeps you small. Nietzsche called it slave morality, two words that will make you uncomfortable. And no, he wasn't talking about literal slavery. He was talking about something far more invisible, far more dangerous. The morality of the powerless, the ethics of the afraid, the value system of those who have quietly given up on their own potential. And here's the disturbing part. It's everywhere. Money is the root of all evil. Translation, I'll never have money, so I'll make poverty virtuous. Ambition corrupts people. Translation, I'm afraid to want more, so I'll make contentment sacred. Successful people are shallow. Translation, I can't compete, so I'll make failure noble. Recognize any of these? This isn't a conscious plan. You're not sitting there thinking, I'm going to turn my limitations into moral principles. Your mind does this automatically. It's a survival mechanism. If you can't be powerful, at least you can be righteous. But here's what Nietzsche saw. This isn't morality. It's psychological self-defense. Because real morality doesn't come from weakness. It comes from strength, choosing restraint. There's a difference between
I don't want power because power corrupts, and I avoid power because I'm afraid of responsibility. One is a choice made from abundance. The other is a rationalization made from scarcity. Guess which one most people are actually living? Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you said, I don't want to be one of those people? Those people who have more money. Those people who take risks. Those people who put themselves out there. Those people who succeed. What if that's not virtue? What if it's fear? What if I don't want to be materialistic actually means I'm terrified of wanting something and not getting it? What if I value authenticity over success actually means I'd rather be authentic and safe than successful and vulnerable? And here's the cruelest part. You've convinced yourself this is noble. You've made your cage moral. You've made your limitations spiritual. You've made your fear wisdom. But Nietzsche saw another way, what he called master morality. Not domination over others, mastery over yourself. Authentic power doesn't come from controlling other people. It comes from controlling your own reactions, your own choices, your own direction. It's the power to want something and go get it. The power to fail and try again. The power to succeed and never apologize for it. When was the last time you wanted something, really wanted it, and went after it without justifying why you deserved it? When was the last time you succeeded at something and felt no guilt, no urge to downplay it, no pressure to make yourself smaller so others would feel comfortable? That discomfort you're feeling right now, that little voice saying, "This sounds selfish," that's slave morality talking. Because authentic power threatens the part of you that's built an entire identity around being powerless. If you can be powerful, then all those years of being powerless were a choice. And that truth is almost too painful to face. So instead, you make powerlessness virtuous. You make limitations sacred. You make your cage your cathedral. But what if there's another way? What if you could want things without shame, achieve things without guilt, be powerful without becoming corrupt? What if the thing you've been taught to fear is the thing that could set you free? But that would mean confronting something even more disturbing. That you've been using your own strength to keep yourself weak. Nietzsche called this the will to power. And chances are, you've been pointing it in the wrong direction.
The will to power, Nietzsche's most misunderstood concept. Most people think it means dominating others, crushing your enemies, being ruthless. They're wrong. The will to power is the fundamental drive in every human being. The drive to grow, to expand, to become more than you currently are. It's not about power over others, it's about power over yourself, power over your circumstances, power over your limitations. And here's what Nietzsche discovered: you can't turn it off. The will to power is always operating. The question isn't whether you have it, the question is, where are you directing it? Because most people are using their will to power to keep themselves powerless. Think about the energy it takes to procrastinate, the mental gymnastics required to justify why you can't, the elaborate stories you create about why success isn't for you. Pause for a moment and picture it. The clock ticking, deadlines approaching, your mind racing for excuses. That's not laziness, that's power. You're using tremendous strength to maintain your weakness.
You're using incredible creativity to design your own prison. Every time you start a project and abandon it halfway through, that's will to power directed at self-sabotage. Every time you pick a fight right before a breakthrough, that's will to power protecting your limitations. Every time you convince yourself you don't really want what you want, that's will to power maintaining your comfort zone. You're not weak, you're powerful. In the wrong direction. But why? Why would you use your strength against yourself? Because growth requires something terrifying, the death of who you currently are. Your current identity is built around your current limitations. I'm not good with money. I'm not relationship material. I'm not leadership material. Success isn't for people like me. These aren't just beliefs. They're you. And if you succeeded, if you broke through, if you became who you're capable of being, who would you be then? That question terrifies most people, because the answer is, I don't know. And your ego would rather be a known failure than an unknown success. So your will to power gets redirected. Instead of using it to grow, you use it to stay the same. Instead of conquering your fears, you conquer your dreams. Instead of overcoming obstacles, you become your own obstacle. It's genius, really, in a twisted way. Because if you're your own worst enemy, then you never have to face real enemies. If you're sabotaging yourself, then the world can't reject you. If you're keeping yourself small, then life can't make you smaller. You're in control, even if that control is destructive. But what if you redirected that power? What if you took all that energy you're using to limit yourself and used it to expand yourself? What if instead of being powerful at self-sabotage, you became powerful at self-creation? The same will to power that keeps you stuck could set you free. The same strength you use to maintain your limitations could shatter them. But that means facing the terrifying possibility you could actually become who you're meant to be. And then what excuse would you have for not living the life you're capable of? What reason would you have for not taking responsibility for your own potential? This is why breakthrough feels so dangerous. It's not just about achieving your goals. It's about killing the version of yourself that found safety in not having them. Success isn't just getting what you want. It's becoming someone who deserves what they want. And that transformation, that becoming, that's what Nietzsche meant when he said, "Become who you are." The question is, are you brave enough to let yourself die so you can finally live?
Become who you are. 4 words that changed everything. But Nietzsche wasn't talking about finding yourself. He wasn't talking about discovering your true nature. He was talking about something far more terrifying: creating yourself. Because who you are isn't waiting to be found. It's waiting to be forged. And that forging requires you to become dangerous. Not dangerous to others. Dangerous to the version of yourself that's been playing it safe. Right now, somewhere inside you, there's a conversation happening. Part of you is reading these words and thinking, maybe it's time. Maybe I could actually. And another part is already preparing the counterattack. A low, venomous whisper that claws at your resolve. Who are you kidding? You've tried before. You always fail. This is just another fantasy. That second voice, that's not wisdom. That's not protection. That's your old self fighting for its life. Imagine that part of you clutching the past like a lifeline, trembling at the thought of letting go. Because every time you grow, a part of you has to die. Every time you expand, your old limitations have to be buried. Every time you become more, the person who was comfortable being less disappears.
That dying is terrifying. This is why breakthrough feels like breakdown, why success feels like crisis, why getting what you want feels like losing who you are. Because in a way, you are. The person who says, "I can't coexist with the person who does. The person who believes they're not worthy can't occupy the same space as the person who succeeds. The person who finds identity in struggle can't survive in a life of ease. One of them has to go. And your subconscious knows this. It's why you sabotage yourself right before breakthrough. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to save you from the death of everything you've known yourself to be. Feel the weight of those comfortable stories pressing down like a heavy fog, blurring your vision. But here's what Nietzsche understood. That death is not destruction. It's birth. Every caterpillar that becomes a butterfly must first dissolve into nothing. Every seed that becomes a tree must first crack open and die. Every person who becomes who they're meant to be must first let go of who they've always been. And that letting go requires courage most people don't have, because it means stepping into the unknown. It means risking everything familiar. It means facing the terrifying possibility that you might actually succeed. And success means there are no more excuses, no more reasons why you can't, no more comfortable stories about why it's not your fault. Success means responsibility for your choices, for your life, for your potential. And most people would rather fail than carry that weight. But not you. You wouldn't be here if you were most people. You wouldn't be listening to this if you were content with comfortable mediocrity. Something in you knows you're capable of more. Something in you is tired of playing small. Something in you is ready to become dangerous to your old self. The question isn't whether you can change. The question is, will you? Will you risk the death of your limitations for the birth of your potential? Will you trade the safety of your cage for the danger of your freedom? Will you become who you are, even if it kills who you were? Because that person you could be, that person you're afraid to become, they're not waiting in some distant future. They're waiting in your next decision, your next choice, your next moment of courage. The wound isn't what happened to you. The wound is who you refused to become because of what happened to you. And healing isn't going back to who you were before you were hurt. Healing is becoming who you're meant to be because you were hurt. Become who you are. The time is now. The choice is yours. This isn't just a choice. This is your moment, your call, the turning point that will echo through every day after this one.
If this moved something inside you, stay. We're building something for those who don't fake it. Subscribe, not just for the content, but for the confrontation. And if this left a wound, maybe it was meant to. Sometimes, the best way to go deeper is to share the pain. Share it. Someone out there still thinks staying small is safety, still calls hesitation humility, still thinks fear is just wisdom in disguise. This won't make them grow, but it might make them see the cage for what it is. Let this reach the ones still mistaking restraint for virtue. Let it whisper. The door was never locked.